All right, I think it's safe to start. So once again, good morning. Welcome to one of the 3 workshops that we're hosting during the Research and Innovation Days. To quickly introduce myself so that you know who's talking, my name is Katrina Barkane. I'm Latvian by birth, Spanish Catalan by upbringing, and very much into the exciting world of research and innovation. So luckily, quite aptly working at the Directorate General for Research and Innovation at the European Commission. For some of you, it's probably already the second day of the event, and for others, it might be one of the first sessions. Big warm welcome to all. European Research and Innovation Days is truly a unique event. It brings together researchers, policymakers, the private sector, and essentially it brings closer everyone who's interested in how research and innovation shapes a better world. In Europe, at the EU and at national level, we're funding research to advance science, to advance knowledge, but also to achieve results and to see and to celebrate that our actions and our efforts have an impact. So here I can also quickly mention the current framework program, Horizon Europe, with an impressive budget of nearly 100 billion euros, which aims to acknowledge impact creation even more visibly. So we need to really work on how research translates into society. And that's kind of precisely where we see this highlighted importance of ensuring that the EU-funded projects are sustainable and that the results are actually used, be it directly or indirectly, for the benefit of the society. And on this note, today in this workshop, we will have a look at the journey of an EU-funded project from funding to how maximizing their various dissemination and exploitation activities can create these societal benefits, and then take research results to the next level. We'll start with the beginning of the journey on the funding and tenders portal. Then we'll leap into the rich data and statistics of the Horizon dashboard, have a quick glance at the project information on CORDIS. We take a turn afterwards to take a deeper look at what can be found on the Horizon results platform, and we will then circle back to the big question of impact creation, also through the Horizon Results Booster services. After this, we will give the floor to showcase and to hear more from 2 success stories. So from beneficiaries that have used 1, 2, or more of these opportunities, and we will hear their story and how they were supported in creating a lasting societal impact. So certainly looking forward to an exciting workshop. Just to perhaps quickly go over some housekeeping rules before we start. We of course want to hear more from you as well, and we see more and more people are joining by the minute, so it's great to see that there is such an interest in the topic. And we are happy to also hear your individual experiences, your suggestions and feedback. And during the workshop, we invite you to use the chat that you have here as a tool to engage together with the other participants that are also attending this workshop. You can share between yourselves as well the stories that you may have, and learn from one another. And when it comes to actually then asking specific questions to the speakers that you will hear today, in particular the 2 success stories, we invite you to use Slido. So there will be a Q&A section at the end of the presentations where we will be able to address specific questions. You can see the connection details on the screen, and in order to facilitate this Q&A section, we invite you as well when you place the question to indicate who you're addressing it to. And then you can also, of course, see other questions that are already asked. You can upvote them so that we can, at the very least, cover the top questions at the end. And with that being said, let's get to the fun part of the workshop. I give the floor to my colleague, Peter Hartwig, the head of unit at the Common Service for Business Processes, who will present the funding and tenders portal along with a relative newcomer to the research innovation ecosystem, our client centricity project. So Peter, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Katrina, and good morning to everybody. I see we are already more than 200 participants. So indeed, I want to give a very brief overview and high level of what the funding and tenders portal is. So for the ones very familiar with this, there will be not too many news, but still some news, because we also have a new project called the Client Centricity Project, which aims at further improving our portal and the other services related to it. So just to give it a start, what is this funding and tenders portal? It is supposed to be the one-stop shop for all the EU grant funding that is directly managed by the Commission or by its executive agencies. So it includes many of the current funding programs of the EU, not all of them. Currently, the ones that are managed in so-called shared management, meaning together with member states by national agencies, they are not part of this portal. But everything that is managed centrally from Brussels is nowadays managed by our funding and tenders portal. We are also about to implement not only the grant funding, but also the procurement of the Commission and the other EU bodies, meaning if the Commission itself buys stuff or services. So following the example of the grants, the management of the procurement contracts will also become part of the portal, and we will also go to this fully electronic management. And this leads me to the third bullet point. So one of the main principles of this portal is that the whole grant life cycle, from the publication of the work programs, of the calls, via the preparation and submission of proposals, the preparation of and signature of the grant agreements, the reporting, the payments, the audits, everything now is done in a fully digital system. There is no more paper exchange between applicants, beneficiaries, and the funding bodies. Related to this, we also implement the so-called once-only principle, meaning that once we have collected a piece of information from you as an organization or even from you as a person, we will not ask you again for the same information when it comes to this different instances of interactions with us. So all this is stored and is made available to the different modules and subsystems for reuse and redisplay. And the last bullet point here is that, of course, in order to animate such a digital system, we must know who is using the system, for which purpose, who has access to which of the assets. And this is done via a sophisticated identity and access management system, which is at the same time very flexible, leaving most of the assignments of the roles and access rights to yourself, meaning in your projects, in your consortia, you have most of this in your own hands. Only a very few roles at the top are assigned directly by us. I switch slides if I can. No, I cannot. And now I can. So what are the main functions for you as a user? First thing is, of course, if you are a newcomer, you want to know where to get funding or where to sell your services and products. And for this, we have the search functionalities. So all the available calls for proposals, topics, and tender calls for tenders are in a big machinery. And when you go on the system and search for keywords, or you filter for certain programs or for certain subject areas, you will be able to drill down and find the opportunities that might match your interests and profiles. You can then also search for potential collaboration partners. You can announce requests for partners on the pages of certain topics, but you can also go into our big databases of existing organizations, persons, and projects and see whether there are potential partners for new endeavors. Of course, the portal has a big section related to help and guidance. There is the IT how-to, there is a database of frequently asked questions, there are documents, reference documents on all the programs covered, and so on and so forth. An important point, if you want to get into the business with us, is that you have to register your organization. And this will lead you to getting a so-called participant identification code, the so-called PIC. This is, in a certain sense, the main hub for also implementing this once-only principle, meaning your PIC, the PIC of your organization, will be reused every time you get into a new proposal for a grant or for a call for tenders. And then we know already who you are, what is your legal address, what is your legal status, and so on and so forth. Then, of course, once you have registered your organization, you can, and you found a suitable funding opportunity, you can start preparing your proposal. We have a proposal submission system with web forms to fill in and technical descriptions of your projects to be uploaded. And then you submit that proposal and it will enter the processes of evaluation. And then when you are lucky and your proposal is selected for funding, we will interact with you in our grant management system, meaning your grant is prepared. You sign it electronically, we sign it electronically, and then we go into the next stages, project reporting, financial statements, payment, audits, and so on and so forth. So, as I said, all these interactions are nowadays fully electronic. Which leads me now to the last two bullet points here, on which we will hear more in the next 2 or 3 presentations now. So once you implement it, or even during the course of implementing of your grant, you have possibilities for publicizing and advertising your results so that you can present it to other users or to other interested parties who will then hopefully contact you and ask you whether they can exploit these results. And we also have a section that provides ample information on each project. So this is, on the one hand, fulfilling our obligations of transparency towards the citizen, so that citizen can see what we are doing with taxpayers' money in the funding. But it is also for you and for the national ministries, for national contact points, to access very detailed program statistics, dashboards, and so on. As I said, on these two last points, we will hear more very soon. And this leads me to the next slide and yet a few words about this client centricity project. Before going to this is just a screenshot from the homepage of the portal indicating the programs in the grant part that are actually covered. It's more than 60. What you see on the screen is, of course, not 60. These are the ones of the current financing cycle, 21 to 27. We also have, of course, programs of the last cycle and even 2 programs of the last but one cycle. So if you are interested in history, you'll find this too. I skipped this one because of time, and I'm coming to the last part of my presentation, which is the client centricity project. So this is, we are now considering the funding and tenders portal and all the underlying modules as a rather mature system. But of course, mature does not mean perfect. And we know that our system is relatively complex, and for newcomers, it is not easy to find their way into it. And this is one of the issues that we want to tackle with this so-called client centricity project. So we want to invest now that all the functions are there, we want to invest in more user friendliness and better accessibility. And starting this, we and the colleagues have, in the first instance, prepared a user survey that ran between May and July, so everybody could participate. We had a few thousand replies. The key findings are that about half of the respondents were from research organizations and second higher education establishments, which is not astonishing because these are still a big part of the users of the portal. We also get some reassuring messages that the content of the portal is absolutely relevant. When it comes to the ease of navigation, there is, of course, a lot of improvement necessary. So roughly half of people agree that it is easy, but that means the other half still have problems with finding the right information. And we have in particular critical comments on the possibilities for search. This means searching for funding opportunities, searching for partners, searching for help, finding the right FAQs is not yet optimum, and we have to invest in this. And the last point here, that many of the respondents would also like to have a more personalized display and view when they enter as registered users, and when the portal already knows in a certain sense what they are interested in. And we should exploit this information more and have, for instance, more personalized notifications, alerts when there are events that are in the interest of a person, alerts when there are new funding opportunities, the possibility to have a personal library where you store the documents in which you are most interested, and you don't have to come back every time and search. So these are the things that we took from this user survey, but we also then had some interview sessions with some selected users. So about 2,000 leaders, account administrators, procurement users, and so on, which gave us even more insight into the possibilities for improvement. I will not go through all the details here, and I'm coming already to the last slide, indicating to you what would be the next steps for us on this client centricity projects. So there are two dimensions to it. One is the optimization of the portal as it is, meaning more user-friendly navigation. We are also about to bring in a new get started section for the absolute newcomer, so that they are not completely lost and get a path into it. Then we have on our plans to improve the search functionalities considerably with using the modern tools of natural language processing and artificial intelligence. And we are also gradually making the portal fully multilingual. We can do this now because the power of e-translation has become so good that most of the content can now be presented in a machine translated version, so that we don't need to spend a lot of resources on human translation. And then on the right-hand side, the more longer term and the more deeper changes that we are thinking about is these personalized notifications, the personalized library, and potentially also then a mobile app providing even better possibilities to the many users that nowadays are not sitting in front of their computer, but use our services on mobile devices. And with this, I think I am finished and hand over again to Katrina. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter. Excellent intro. Really great to have this one single entry point to address these multiple needs of the research innovation funding from the beginning and to even after the lifetime of our project. It's really great to see. And we'll continue with a segue into the realm of dissemination exploitation ecosystem, or in other words, making sure that research results are made available to those that can best use them, and as a consequence are used to create impact. So quite simple in its essence. So the importance of the dissemination exploitation can be quickly summarized in the existing strategy for Horizon Europe, which places DNE, dissemination exploitation, as an instrumental part in achieving this economic, societal, scientific impact. In practice, this means that there are many roads that lead to Rome, and we will have a closer look at some of them, given that the Commission supports beneficiaries by offering guidance, training, capacity building, materials and activities, as well as different incentives and opportunities for them to scale up or commercialize or make the results ready to be impactful in other fields as well. So just a quick disclaimer before we move on, the tools and initiatives that we're about to quickly go over are very much closely linked to the R&I framework programs such as the FP7, Horizon 2020, and Horizon Europe. So they will be relevant to all, but of particular relevance to the beneficiaries and future applicants as well of these programs. So let's dive into the data pool. And first up, we have the Horizon dashboard, which is also accessible through the Funding and Tenders portal. You can find it there. We'll show you where in a minute. Actually, you can find it yourself now. If you just take your phone and scan the QR code, you'll land on the landing page of the Horizon dashboard. And this is where research and innovation stakeholders and enthusiasts can easily find data, graphs, maps with information on the various research innovation funding programs, which address questions such as how's my country or region doing in a particular field or in R&I in general, how is my organization participating in the EU R&I funding, how many times my organization or region or country has participated, with whom do we collaborate the most, which fields, etc., etc. There's really a vast amount of information available on this topic. From the technical side, just to mention that Horizon Dashboard is really based on an intuitive technology. So it does allow the users to quickly browse through the different views and sheets that are available to them, and to use the dashboard by making up, like I mentioned before, whether it be graphs or maps or tables, by filtering different options, and to also export the content. So it is accessible to everyone, so specialists, researchers, national authorities, anyone who's interested to find out more about EU funding. And all the data that you can find here is refreshed on a monthly basis, which is also very key to know and useful. And here's the best part. I mean, you can see in this, in the Horizon dashboard, and this is a relatively new feature, you can see data on all of the EU research framework programs. So going back to the very first framework program from the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, all the way to Horizon Europe, which is now the 9th framework program. So this is also especially interesting to the history buffs among us, as Peter also mentioned earlier. And yeah, there are many different categories that you can go through. You can see implementation figures, you can check out the country profiles, thematic views, cross-cutting issues, and beyond. So it's really a place to have a look, and this is how it will look from one of the views. So it's just one of the example. There's many different views. How you can access the key figures, and you can see as well a little bit here that there's different filters. Those will also vary depending on which view you've selected to see, but you can, you know, drill down based on geographical criteria, organization, year, funding program structure, type of actions, even keywords. So really it's a playground of data and statistics on R&I. And when going back to its main landing page, which you saw in the QR code earlier, there you can also find tutorials, and the colleagues who work on day and night on this tool can be reached as well through the functional mailbox that is available on the website as well. The tool is always evolving, and so we warmly invite you to always provide us with feedback and input on your particular experience on this. So just to move on, most will already be very familiar with this, but since we are talking data and key information on projects, let's also remember that CORDIS, which also you can find a link in the dashboard data and stats to the CORDIS project info fact sheet. And CORDIS has a rich and structured repository with the EU-funded projects. And as I mentioned, you have there the fact sheets, information on participants, reports, deliverables. It really does facilitate easy access to kind of like the landscape put into a story. So you have Horizon Dashboard on one side with the data and the statistics, and then you also have CORDIS who makes the link and builds the story. As you can see, this would be the landing page, a screenshot taken from today. It's regularly updated with the newest results pack, and it features a carousel of the latest ones. So it really does combine the experience and in the results packs. It combines experience and results from different projects. So that's one of the features that you can find there. And we invite you to browse around and find out more on what else is out there. There's really a lot of interesting information readily available. So moving on to the next tool, and this is the Horizon Results Platform. So here we have free of charge as well. I mean, as all of what has been mentioned until now. So it's a tool that really has been made to bridge the gap between what are the results and what is the impact, and what is the research and what is the market. We could describe it as a two-way street. There's demand, supply, because beneficiaries are invited to upload their results, but interested parties, so not necessarily beneficiaries, can be anyone really: policymakers, investors, business angels, research innovation organizations, public administration, and beyond can all access the results that are here and make valuable connections that can then, of course, hopefully materialize into an impact. So it's important to mention that here, for example, we see that currently there are already like over 2,000 innovative solutions with key information on what the results owners are actually looking for. So if they're seeking collaboration or visibility, investment opportunities, and beyond. It's important to mention that in the results platform, you can filter the available results by keywords or by specific filters, which can then, of course, help you narrow down the information on a specific topic. And an extra perk here, having the results on the platform can also bring you additional opportunities, such as what's mentioned on the slide, access to various matchmaking events. So with different financial stakeholders, such as business angels, or you can see here corporate stakeholders, etc. So later on, we will actually hear more on how this looks in practice from one of the projects that have already participated in such event. So it's really nice to make this link between theory and practice. And then it's also important to note that there is, on top of the Horizon Results platform itself, there is an added feature, which is the Horizon Results Platform TV. And the Horizon Results Platform TV hosts kind of inspirational, informational videos from different sources. So it can be investors, it can be experts, it can be other result owners, so other beneficiaries. And the idea there is to really learn from one another, to get inspired, and to also gain a better understanding of what's out there and perhaps what would be the best steps to take in your particular case based on what you're looking for. And I think I've lost control over the slides. If I could move to the next one, please. I'm not sure I can. Well, to continue with this, and we'll see the slide in a second, is that there's a brand new feature as of this summer. So on filtering the results that are available there on the different EU missions. You know that we have these 5 EU missions that are really one of the key focus on the European research and innovation landscape right now. And with this filter, it really facilitates this access to pretty much an easy identification to all the results and all the projects that can be particularly relevant to a given portfolio. So this can also aid in portfolio creation, or simply to have a better understanding, again, on the landscape when it comes to the different results that are out there. And here, if you have your phones ready and you want to have a look at the different tools, you have the QR codes readily available here. But to sum up on the results platform, it's free of charge, easily accessible through the funding and tenders portal, and currently available to FP7, H2020, Horizon Europe, EMFF, and other research innovation programs will hopefully join as well in the future. There's guidance available as well, and you can scan the QR codes to see more for yourself. And with this, we go on to the last topic before we go into the testimonials. So last but not least, the Horizon Results Booster. So this is not a platform per se, but it's a range of free of charge, again, services that are offered by the European Commission to our framework program beneficiaries. So these can be ongoing or closed projects, and the aim is to assist them in the dissemination exploitation journey. It's not a grant. There is no money or payments between what is the commission and the beneficiary, but it's rather a service itself that you can get assistance and further support by a team of experts. And it does vary from different kind of services that are there. So what we can see here is it can go from developing portfolios to improving your dissemination exploitation strategy to developing business plans and perhaps getting the research ready for commercialization if this is the end goal. So there's really different services, as you can see here, that can be delivered a la carte. So you choose depending on your specific needs at a given time. And the main idea here is really this extra layer of support, because sometimes, as much as we understand that dissemination exploitation is key and is crucial, perhaps there are times where we come to the mid or the end of the project and we would like to do more, but either there are restraints on human resources or budgetary restraints, or for whichever reason, it gets kind of backlogged a little bit. So this is to give this extra person, to give a helping hand for those that really wish to take their results and to improve what's going to happen with those results later on, so that we don't keep them in our own individual drawers, but that we share them and use them, and that, well, society as a whole, which is the end goal, benefits as well. So I briefly mentioned this already, but who can get these services? So it's ongoing or completed projects. Doesn't like completed, if it's an FP7, I know that it's going to be a while ago, but yes, it can be an FP7 completed project from years and years ago. Same applies for Horizon 2020 and also for the ongoing projects, for example, Horizon Europe. So it also includes, important to mention, because we do get this a lot, individual fellowships, so such as the ones under the Marie Sklodowska actions. So that's something to consider as well. And to sum up, before I leave the floor to the next speaker, what's in it for you? Why would you want to do this? In short, I mean, many projects, not only those funded by framework programs that I've mentioned, but many projects have several common things in terms of content, target stakeholders, groups of interest. And the services can actually help to learn more about what's the domain's landscape, or what's out there other than my own field. Perhaps there can be synergies, perhaps I need to have a look at the bigger picture. And for project groups in particular, it can be helpful to join forces through these common dissemination exploitation activities, because it can perhaps increase the interest of relevant audiences, save resources, and joint dissemination potentially could have also a better impact on policymaking in the end. In short, added value here is that through the use of these services, you're one step closer to generating a positive impact and increasing the value of results. So if you need some guidance on how to use your results to really get to impact, then this service is certainly for you. But enough about the theory. Let's talk practice. And with this, I would like to give the floor to first of the two testimonials that we'll hear today. So this will be from Eva Sophia Myers, who will share the experience of the project's peer, who set out, among other things, to promote institutional change when it comes to gender equality. So Eva, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope everyone can hear me. I just want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our project and how we have made use of the impressive service of the Horizon Results Booster, which I can fully attest really does work. So I will give you a little bit of background first. I will say that I am from Denmark, since we are talking about this, but I'm also partly British, and I've lived in different countries, and I'm very proud of being part of a European community, and I am forever grateful for what the EU does in terms of trailblazing, especially for something that lies close to my heart, namely inclusive gender equality, which I've been working with for the last 10 years of my time at the universities I've been working at. And I'm now at the University of Southern Denmark, and I am presently the executive coordinator of the SPEAR project. So, yes, the SPEAR project is a project with 11 partners we've been running from the 1st of January 2019. We have a 4-year and 3-month project and 3 million. And our consortium spans what you see down here in the right-hand corner. We are tasked with implementing gender equality plans at 9 different universities throughout Europe. And this is part of a CSA action. So we are coordinating and supporting this endeavor. This is very much a question of implementing gender equality in European universities. We do this through support and communities, and we have specifically 2 communities in SPEAR, and this is what you see up here in the left-hand top corner, and also a screenshot from our web page, which we are very proud of in terms of dissemination, because that's really one of our main objectives, is also to support through wide dissemination of useful tools and so on. What is gender equality? Gender equality is one of the priority areas of the European research areas and is one of the cross-cutting issues in a lot of different things. And so this is a very important thing. And I'm saying this because I realize that maybe not all of you are necessarily familiar with this. It's not only about ensuring balance and representation. It's also very much a question of deep institutional change in processes and practices and governance and so on at the universities and research institutions. What happened while we were going, we started with this project already in 2019, and in 2021-22, as everyone here probably knows, the Horizon Europe came along, and along with that, gender equality plans became an eligibility criterion in order to even obtain any funding from the Horizon Europe. And this entails 4 requirements. These are the 4 boxes, colored boxes, and then 5 recommendations. And these 4 requirements and 5 recommendations really frame what gender equality is about. Gender equality, a gender equality plan is a set of actions that aim to promote gender equality through institutional and cultural change. And it's really a deep change that reaches into all aspects of the daily life at a research and innovation institution. So with what we were given with our projects, and this goes for all our sister projects in the Horizon 2020, we were given a head start, and our institutions, so institutions which are part of our projects, have really benefited from this and have been able to put themselves at the very forefront of this development and able to take up on these requirements from the very onset of Horizon Europe. And this is a great asset. And this we wanted to turn into something that we could use. And to this end, we were very happy to be contacted by some of our sister projects who in turn had been briefed by the Horizon Results Booster on how to boost some of our results. And so let's see if I can change here. Yes. So these are our objectives. Our overarching objective is to promote institutional change and gender equality in academia through implementing gender equality plans. And our specific objectives are to support gender equality practitioners, both experts and, for instance, HR administrators in this gender equality plan implementation. We do this through the collaboration through communities, both in SPEAR but also beyond SPEAR. And we do this by focusing especially on the sustainability of our measures and the dissemination of them. And we with the help of Horizon Results Booster, we collaborated with 2 sister projects, Act on Gender and Target. And we started in November 20. And by March 21, we had this social media campaign that pooled our different resources and put them together into a GEP starter, so that an institution which had not been part of one of our projects but were aiming to set up a gender equality plan. They had some ready packaged material from all 3 projects. And this was a great help we got from Horizon Results Booster. They basically helped us very much enhance our objectives. They have helped us in our long-term and timely support of the wider community in our GEP implementation. They helped us by designing well-developed materials and very clear dissemination, the general support, and also it's clear that they know what they're talking about. So we had catchy hashtags, clear mottos, good visuals, and so on. And they were very proactive, and they helped us a lot also by keeping us to the task, by giving us distinctive deadlines. And with all this, we gathered quite a lot of enhanced and effective collaboration and supported our own community building with our sister projects. So I think that's what I had to say. Thank you very much for your attention from all our projects, and I will now say thank you from me.
Thank you very much, Eva. That was great. It's really great to see how the booster services can support projects, not that are also projects that are not strictly aiming at commercialization in the marketplace. So bravo to you. Many thanks again. And we'll segue into the final presentation of today. So from Alejandro Marquez, who will walk us through his journey and the journey of his project on how tidal energy is the energy of the future. And as you all know, energy matters are very much in the spotlight right now. So we eagerly await to hear from you. Alejandro, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Well, first of all, I'd like to explain a little bit what we do as a company. So, yes, basically what we do is harness ocean currents. So this is a whole new resource of renewable energy that has been there for hundreds of years. Well, since the history of the planet, but it's a resource that we have not yet managed to harness until now, of course. But what are ocean currents? So basically, ocean currents are formed from the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun over the earth that makes tides rise and fall every 6 hours. So every time the tide moves, this means that huge amounts of water are moving from one side to another of the planet. And this creates really strong currents that are, of course, that carry a lot of energy. And we were very eager, and we were decided to harness this technology. So because we had to harness a moving fluid that's in the ocean, we focused on existing technologies, which are basically the windmill industry and the naval industry. And we combined them in the simplest way possible, which is basically installing 2 windmills under a boat. And well, we have a short video of how it works. This is basically, well, it's a drawing of the device, but explains very well how we have a floating device, we have a mast, and we have 2 windmills that have 2 rotors that are counter-rotating. This means that the device is very, very stable. We have mature technologies, as all the mechanical and electrical components come from the windmill industry, and the rest comes from the naval industry. We then have a subsea cable that sends electricity back to our house and industries, and its simplicity and cost effectiveness what drives us. So if we can switch to the next slide, please. Thank you. And if you can give me, control, that's it. Yeah, so well, this is a picture of the full-scale device that we have right now at the European Marine Energy Centre. So this is a test center, a European test center in the north of Scotland, and this is basically our full-scale device. That is the result of 14 years of development. This can produce enough energy for 2,000 homes, and this, of course, represents the seed of a new renewable energy industry that can harness energy from our oceans. But of course, developing the technology is only part of developing a great business. And taking the next step and focusing on the business part of any company, we're very lucky to come up, well, to be approached by the Horizon Result Booster Services. And this is because we were, of course, to reach where we got here, it was due to a strong financing, and this came from the European Commission in the form of grants and, of course, private equity. And the European Commission, we got a strong grant, which was the Fast Track to Innovation, and this unlocked the Horizon Results Booster services. So we went through the whole process from beginning to end. It started with a portfolio simulation and exploitation strategy, which is basically getting your ideas together, brainstorming what you want to do with the technology, how you think you're going to market it, and so on. Then, of course, with all those ideas, we got them together in the next step in the business plan development. Well, we also analyzed our competitors, how the market is, and of course, how we want to get to that market and be able to disrupt it. And then, of course, this needs more financing, because the R&D part is very important, but in order to reach the market, you need that strong financing, which will come from private investors. And in this case, the last stage helped us very much trying to work on reaching investors. So that was basically pitching and accessing those pitches. Being able to access those investors. So just as examples, this is part of the business model, which the idea was very complex, so I would try to make it simple, dividing it into two revenue streams. So the sale of the devices, and then the maintenance and the operation. Then, of course, the go-to-market strategy, which we developed a strategy, a 10-year strategy, basically, up to 2030, gradually staging from a small country to, of course, expanding to different countries with different arrays. And then, of course, we focused on the key investment highlights so that we could pitch to investors and have an effective message that could really make them understand that we not only have a great technology, but we are also a great company, and of course a great sector. So yeah, regarding this last point, which is what most of us struggle the most after having a great product and a company that needs to of course reach the market. Part of being able to get that investment is, of course, being able to master your pitching, master your business plan, and be able to work inwards and be ready. But of course, you have to reach outwards, and for that you need, of course, a strong dissemination, a good way to reach to investors. And this was also helpful thanks to the so the platform helped us very much in this case. So we participated in a business angels pitching event. This was a very positive experience, because we were able to have the opportunity to face real investors, and of course we got feedback from them, and we learned a lot from the process. And one thing is what you think they're going to ask, and then you see that they are interested in other points, and it's a whole learning process. And of course, being able to sit with many investors in a short amount of time is very, very helpful. So much it is that we did close our financing round this summer. It was not with a European business angel, but it was definitely helpful to be ready for this investor with which we finally closed the round. So yes, we're very happy, very grateful, and we recommend the whole process, and of course, well, the whole Horizon Results Booster platform and all the pitching events. It's yeah, we are very, very thankful indeed.
Thank you very much, Alejandro, and thanks to all of the speakers for the lovely presentations. We can really see many great opportunities on the horizon. So with the limited time that we have left, let's open the floor for questions. We are happy to hear from you now, but also after the workshop. We have shared as well the details how you can get in touch with us with the various functional mailboxes, and we also invite you to continue the chat after this workshop in the village area of the RNI Days under the Horizon Europe Village. So there's a chat there as well, and colleagues who are available for to answer your questions, and you can also even book a meeting with one of the policy officers at in the commission. So that's something for later, but for now, let's have a look at Slido. As a reminder, if you could specify to whom you're addressing the question when you're posting it on Slido, it would be very much appreciated. And all right, let's have a look what we have there. We have two that have one that has been uploaded. All right, I think the first one probably for you, Peter. It's on the notifications, if I'm not mistaken, regarding the funding and tenders portal.
Yes, indeed, this is for us. So we have something that is called RSS feed on our portal, but we know that not many people use it, and it's also a bit outdated. So indeed, we go for a new system, and this new system would, from the outset, be something that can be personalized. So either by subscription or by exploiting the data that we have, and so to say, guessing what people might be interested in. So it's in the pipeline, it will come.
Thank you, Peter. Let's see. Could you please explain the difference between CORDIS and Horizon Dashboard? Yes, of course. I mean, I think it was also mentioned in the chat, but basically, I mean, the data does not differ. The data and the statistics are the same, come from the same source. The difference there is how you see it, what's the story that is presented. So on the dashboard, what you see is really very analytical view. So you get the nitty-gritty of the data, the statistics, the numbers, the graphs and maps, and then you can fine tune it to your own needs. Whereas on CORDIS, you can have as well a little bit about the story. You hear the abstract of each project, you see what they set out to do. So it's more of a narrative that you get from CORDIS. So both are referring to the same data, but it's different presentations of what EU funding is having as result in this project. So that one's done. Let's see if anything else comes in. Sorry, I just saw in the chat that there's not enough space in Slido to use characters to mention to whom the question is addressed. Okay, never mind then. Sorry about that. I see there's a new one coming up. All right. Results Booster is a fantastic service, but for researchers on short-term contracts, how do they engage with this after a project has finished? Excellent question. After the project has finished, so it doesn't need to be the coordinator itself who applies for the project, but each project can only benefit from from each individual service once. So researchers, the partners of the project, the whole consortia, anyone can apply with the understanding, of course, that this is not done behind the back of everyone else. And in any case, once an application is submitted for a Horizon Results Booster service, the project officer, who is always your best friend when it comes to the project implementation, also receives a notification. So if anything, I think the best practice would be to have a chat as well with the project officer to see if they can guide you best, whether to reach out to coordinator or to how to go about the application. So thanks for the question, Emma. All right. Let me see if there's anything here in the chat as well. Let's see. One more question came in. When is expected that the draft of the next work program will be available? Good question. Not the topic here, but we expect that the draft should be, I mean, as you know, it undergoes a vigorous consultation process. So end of this year, date to be confirmed. And I think with that, we're done. If we could go back to the slide one last second. Thank you very much. The last slide. I've lost my present option. Yeah, thank you. All right, so thank you once again to the speakers and to the participants. This is a give and take. So if there's anything that you remember later on to ask or to suggest or to give feedback, we're delighted to have another conversation, and we are really happy to have shared this hour with you. I would nevertheless like to end this meeting with a bit of a cliffhanger as well, talking about the how to support our potential applicants and existing and future beneficiaries in their activities when it comes to going from research results to impact. We're considering the idea of, in addition to what is already in the dissemination and exploitation strategy for Horizon Europe, to also engage more with external stakeholders groups. So in case the people here today or whoever is watching the recording after, you would wish to express your views on this or on such an initiative, or if you would if you would like to be part of it, or if you would like to propose ideas of what services or what kind of services or help or tools would be most beneficial to you, we're happy to hear from you. You can contact us here at the email address that you can see on the slide. And with that, I thank all of you. I thank the speakers and the session organizers as well, who are here in the back office making sure everything goes on without a glitch. Thanks, and have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of the RNA days.